Okay, we got McMole with me, and we're going to talk about the P4 Critolite. What do you think about all that?
I think that we should do a giveaway.
We're going to do a giveaway. Don't worry. Let's talk about what's happening and why the changes are being made. And I've got the post right here, which is from CG Top Hat. But to summarize it, there was a loop, and they don't like loops. And so what are they going to do about that? Explain the loop and what they're going to do about the loop.
So the loop was basically you use a team with Asajj Ventress, Nightsister Acolyte, R2-D2, Hermit Yoda, and Darth Traya. You didn't have to use some of those characters, but you need at least Asajj, Acolyte, and Traya. And what happened was she isolates Darth Nihilus, or she isolates Darth Traya in Phase 3, and you just set to basic auto with Nightsister Acolyte, and she just constantly keeps refilling her turn meter because of the Zeta Asajj lead. And you just set to auto, and you could solo all of Phase 3. You could solo all of Nihilus in Phase 1 with just one attempt.
So two things about that. It was a loop, and it required a 7-star Darth Traya. That's kind of important, right? So in the past, they said they do not like loops on this raid this early, right? I mean, that's what happened with Stormtrooper Hard. They said, we don't like loops. They specifically build this raid so that it was not a loop, right? They're like anti-loops, and they've talked about it.
Correct. Yeah, they are not a big fan of loops. They don't want it where only your team is moving and the enemy team never moves at all. It's just too early in the Sith Raid's conception to have that kind of team in here.
And that was the first thing. Now, what is the second thing? And the second thing is with Nightsister Zombie, correct?
Nightsister Zombie, a.k.a. Paper Zombie. So your Paper Zombie concept is you basically throw in a Nightsister Zombie with no gear on it, maybe gear level 2 or 3. You don't want any gear on Zombie because the more often the Zombie dies, it jacks up the Rampage, a unique ability for Asajj, where she gains stacking 10% offense without the Zeta every time an ally or enemy dies. Traya just keeps nuking Nightsister Zombie, just keeps jacking up the damage on Asajj, and it turned her into this one-man army. And the problem was if you used a well-geared zombie like you should for a heroic Sith Raid, you don't get as much offense bonus as you would with an undergeared zombie.
Okay, so they've talked about this in the past also. Before they reworked Old Bend, they said that they were against creating an advantage for players who did not fully develop a character. They viewed it as a penalty to people that geared the character all the way up. So anybody that geared up Zombie to G12 is at a disadvantage, and that was the way it was with Old Ben, and they were very explicit that they did not like that at all. So I want to give Capital Games some credit for like at least communicating with this. And for me, when I saw these changes, even though I didn't like the result and the way it was being done, I have to give them credit. I kind of saw it coming. Do you agree? I mean, I saw this coming a mile away.
Yeah, it was coming a long time that Nightsister Zombie was going to get something changed.
Okay, and so what do they do to fix this problem? They really haven't talked about what's going to happen with Nightsister Zombie, but they said they're going to do something. But specifically for Phase 4, they said they're going to 20 stacks for Traya. How does that work?
Yeah, it's not just Phase 4, it's also Phase 3 as well with this change to bonds. But what happens is once you get 20 stacks of Bonds of Weakness, your characters can no longer heal above 90% health. This basically means with the Asajj Zeta lead, your Nightsisters gain turn meter whenever they fall below 100% health. Once they get those stacks of 20 Bonds of Weakness on there, they can't heal back up to full health, which means they can't trigger their turn meter boost like they could before.
So that created problems for two different types of people, and we're going to talk about who this affected, and then we're also going to talk about feedback that developers are asking for. I want to give them credit for that because they've asked me for feedback, and I'll explain at the end of the video how they're going to do that. But the biggest complaint that I saw about this is that this really messed up Zeta and Daka, and basically there was no more value in Daka.
Yeah, so the Zeta on Daka gives her bonus max health every time an ally is defeated, which ties into your Nightsister Zombie. You want Nightsister Zombie to die often, that increases her health, and then her healing ability would increase because she heals based off her max health. But the problem is, once you get up to those 20 stacks of bonds, and she could actually allow you to push the limit on how many Bonds of Weakness you could stack on your team before needing to cleanse it, so you could heal more, get more of those turn meter boosts, and help increase your damage a little bit. But now with this change, so that it's only 20 stacks before you can't heal up to 100%, now her Zeta has been just absolutely destroyed for the raid. It's really not good for the raid anymore.
Okay, so they're going to refund the Zetas. So basically, every single person that had Zeta at Old Daka, when this change goes into effect, they're going to refund the Zeta, and then you're going to have the option to re-Zeta her if you want. But everybody's going to be unzeted. Now, this is the issue that I have in a lot of the comments here on Reddit, is that there's two types of guilds right now. There's guilds that, three. Guilds that can't quite do it, who are investing heavily on Nightsisters, and they feel they've been shorted drastically. Then there's guilds like mine where we're not quite to the 7-star Treya, but a lot of people like myself, I don't really care about Nightsisters because it just seems like it just ends before I can get to it. And then there's guilds that have this 7-star Treya, and those guilds really don't care about this nerf. Seems like the penalty is going towards the lowest guilds rather than the highest guilds, which kind of started this whole conversation. Do you agree?
Yeah, it really punishes the people who were using Nightsisters to help clear Phase 4. And there's other teams you can use, but if you're having to rely on Nightsisters, you just basically got slapped in the face.
All right, so I can see that's a problem. And so a lot of people are talking about nerf Isolate, not the Nightsisters. Do you think that is a valid solution, or do you think that they had to do this with the bonds because it would have created other loop problems in the future, or how else could they have done this?
Some people that I've been talking to have had some ideas. I was talking to Skelturks about this as well. His idea was change the Hellsteel aspect of Isolate on raid bosses to defense penetration. You know, if you attack that raid boss, you ignore more of their armor. It would be a lot more helpful. It wouldn't make the Crit-a-Light team work like it does now. I know CG doesn't want to do that because down the road they're going to have another character that could give Hellsteel up, and it would just repeat the Crit-a-Light team again. But I do think that they should at least try and consider something with Isolate, because I think at the same time, Hellsteel's not exactly something that you're going to have a lot of use for outside of a Nightsister team, perhaps, in a Sith Raid.
And then lastly, what do you think they should do? I mean, how do you feel about this whole thing? I mean,
when I first heard it last night, I was furious.
Right, you messaged me.
Oh, God, I was mad. I do think that, number one, the 20 stacks of Bond's Weakness is far too low for where it needs to be. I think if they doubled it to at least 40, push it up to 50, that'd be much better. That'd be a lot better for your Nightsister teams. 20 stacks is just way too low. The cleansing cooldown on the stacks, I think it's an 8-9 turn cooldown. It's a long cooldown. So you're going to get to those 20 stacks of bonds in almost no time at all. One Mother Talisman assist is going to give you 5 stacks of bonds right there.
Right.
So it's too low of a stack. They need to at least double it. But with Nightsister Zombie, that was something that I have no problem with. That was something that needed to be addressed a while back anyways. And as someone who has a Gear 11 Zombie, I was always kind of frustrated by, like, hey, I've got this well-geared zombie because I use Nightsisters in Arena, but now I can't get a high score as someone who had a Gear 3 or Gear 4 zombie because I actually took the time and geared up my Nightsister zombie.
All right, we're going to wrap up the video with 3 positive things. First one is that the developers have specifically asked for feedback about this. So McMole's going to type into the comment section what he thinks. Other people are going to as well. And then I'm able to forward that directly to developers. They've asked for feedback specifically about this. So if you have feedback that maybe we didn't talk about here in this video, you're welcome to put that back in the comment section, and the top comments will make it to the developers. Absolutely. Secondly, I wanted to talk about your Flaming Hot Greedo mix. There's an icon to click up in the top right-hand corner, which links to your video. I watched the video. It's amazing. That's actually a lot of fun, right?
It's a bit of a frustration with the RNG sometimes, but once you get Greedo going, it's beautiful.
So check out McMole's video on that. And then lastly, we have to do the giveaway because this is a monster giveaway right here. This is the first time that there's been a quad Zeta character. This is a brand new character. So I really hope you liked this video today, because if you did like it, you are in luck. You will be getting for free in your account a quad Zeta Gear 13 8-star POW. This is not a scam. You love POW, right?
Who doesn't love POW?
What, how long was that guy in the movie? Like 5 seconds or something?
10 seconds. He gets like 2 lines. But it was the best lines ever. It was worthy of an Oscar. POW
somehow made it into the game, but they are not even in the movie, but yet we don't have Snoke. I don't understand, right?
Yeah.
All right. I think they know about that. All right, guys, be sure to check out McMole's Greedo video. That is really cool. And as always, thanks for watching and keep on gaming.